Welcome, everyone, to the 43rd episode of the Some Casual Takes podcast, a podcast hosted by me, Stephen Pepper, featuring other sports fans debating interesting topics with the most casual takes. Not going to lie, though, bro, my intro to this podcast, Some Casual Takes, by the way, started because I thought this podcast was going to be a casual podcast where, like, me and my friends would just say, like, casual sports takes. Like, if you look at my old videos, it's just straight casual takes. Like, actually, like, the most casual takes ever. But then I was like, dude, I'm too intelligent to be on TikTok to just saying casual stuff. I feel like I could really, like, get a criteria down and debate real ball. Because basketball is my favorite sport. And I got tired of being called casual, too. So we might have to change. We're going to keep some casual takes because that's always my bailout. It's a good name. But we're in our some factual takes era. And I'll tell you why. This episode is brought to you by no one. I'm here with Possible Chairs, my guy Aaron back again.
Thanks for having me.
Knowledgeable guy on TikTok, I would say. Probably out of all the people I follow who talk basketball, probably I don't know the most because I haven't evaluated everybody, but definitely like top 3.
I'm gonna give myself number one. Number one.
You can give yourself number 1. I haven't evaluated everyone, but top 3, lock. That's good.
Appreciate it.
So much about basketball. And you're not really particularly biased unless it comes with the Sacramento Kings.
That's true.
You're not biased at all. That's why I like talking ball with you. But like I said, some factual takes era. We're gonna come with less casual takes. The podcast is also gonna be a lot more focused and structured, and we're gonna be more cognizant of time because I'm a very busy person. And I feel like people sometimes what I noticed about my podcast looking back is we drag conversations way too long. And I'm going to be more cognizant of that. Also, no more frames, no more glasses. Your boy got LASIK surgery. I'm feeling good. Can't see 100% all the way, but we're pretty much at like 90%. Technology is just like a little hard to see because the glare of the light. My eyes still have to adapt to it, but we look good. Once I get used to this face, because I've been wearing glasses for like 9 years, we're going to be back. So I feel naked right now because it's been 9 years since I never had to wear glasses. But pretty much all of grade school almost. I started wearing glasses in like 5th, 6th grade, but now we're here. So
it's a new era.
It is a new era of just me. Also, soon on this podcast, we're going to have a lot of new faces. I posted on my TikTok story, Some Casual Takes, recruiting some new panelists, and we had a lot of people DM me, comment saying they want to join. So we're going to have some new faces up on here talking hoops because it's the off season.
I love the off season. The off season's better than the regular season.
Yes, because who wants to talk about, oh, did you see Boston versus Philly last night? No, I want to talk narratives. I want to talk legacies. That's what the off season is about. Predictions, projections, free agency, over exaggerated super teams.
Way cooler.
Legacy debates. All that narrative talk, what the finals did, all that. That's what the offseason is about, and I can't wait to get into it. So it's going to be exciting because although I love baseball, I think I'd bore everyone to death if I talked to baseball. Football, there's not much going on until September, August, so I can't talk football. So basketball,
I'm into baseball.
I know the most about. We'll talk. I would just bore my followers talking about baseball. That's why
I'm getting into baseball. It's a process. This is year one of me really being into it. And then my favorite team moved away. So
I've been watching it for years because of, well, most of my family's from like Cincinnati area, Cincinnati Reds. And when football and basketball are gone, that whole summertime, like, what are you going to watch? Baseball is just a vibe during the summer. And it keeps me like, because I love sports. I love narratives. I love watching teams succeed, and baseball is the way to do it. Unless I go watch soccer, but I'm good. Okay.
Not into soccer.
But Possible Chairs. I did a huge live stream last night on TikTok where I unveiled my updated top 15 players list ever. And because I want to recap the finals and the finals narratives and get into your Hall of Fame stuff.
Yeah,
but
please.
Since you're a high knowledgeable dude who's done list after list with your criteria, I want to present mine. Because I go TikTok live once every other week showing my top 15s list because I changed my criteria. But I finally feel like I got this consistent list. So here are my top 15 greatest players of all time. Criteria is based on accolades, longevity, peak, skill, and impact on winning. Accolades, obviously, that's just like trophy case. What's in your trophy case? Like the accolades behind you. Like what's in your trophy case? Like you got an MVP, you got a chip. How many chips you got? Scoring titles. Like that's accolades. Finals MVPs. Longevity. Now, longevity is not just you played 20 years. I feel like for all-time greats, longevity is how long were you at a high level. That's
There
what
you
I
go.
count as
That's perfect.
longevity. So
That's
I don't care
it's a
if
good
you
way to say
played
that.
20
Yeah.
years because I'm not counting 4-point per game seasons. That's just me.
I call it longevity of being good.
Yeah. Longevity is how long were you at a high level producing and contributing. Peak, obviously, it's one singular season. You at your absolute apex. That's peak. Skill, self-explanatory. How skillful are you at the game of basketball? How many things can you do on the floor? And impact on winning is pretty vague. I'm not going to lie. Impact on winning for me, it's a pretty vague statement, but it's a lot of things like what are your playoff runs looking like? What's your playoff translation? How did you perform in the NBA finals? Do you have any choke moments? Do you have any moments where you're rising above? How impactful were you on your teams contributing to your teams winning? Basically what I'm trying to say. It
I
heavily
get it.
playoff translation and how impactful you were to winning. Were you the leading scorer of a championship? Were you the second leading scorer? Or was your championship, were your most successful times when you were the third or fourth leading scorer? Cough, cough, David Robinson. So here's my top 15. Number 1, Jordan. 2, LeBron. 3, Kareem. 4, Bill Russell. 5, Irvin Magic Johnson. I don't know why I said his government like that. 6, Timmy. 7, Kobe. 8, Shaq. 9, Hakeem. 10, Bird. 11, Steph. 12, Wilt. 13, KD. 14, West. And 15 is a collection of names I haven't really figured out yet. 15 is I haven't figured out 15 yet, but 15 is a lot of people have 15 up for grabs. It can either be Moses Malone, Oscar Robertson, Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett, Nikola Jokic, or Giannis Antetokounmpo. All those guys have an argument for 15. I haven't figured out who deserves 15 yet, but that is my 15.
I like it. I had to ask before we get into the if Jokic is 15 yet. Why the gap between Bird and Magic? You had Bird at 5 or sorry, you had Magic at 5, I think Bird down at 10, right? Is that
Yes.
correct? I have Magic at 7, Bird at 8. I just don't see the separation from those guys. They were the 1 and 2 in the league for
Yes, they
basically
were.
the exact same time.
So thinking about accolades here, Magic championships, same amount of MVPs, Magic Finals MVPs, slight accolades to Magic Johnson, got the assist titles, blah, blah, blah. Slight accolades, Magic checkmark. Longevity, I think they're about the same on how long they were. I think they have about the same all NBAs. Both drafted the same years, both kind of, well, Magic didn't really fall off because of the,
they both had external forces causing
yes,
retirements,
Bird
but
injury. I think at
longevity
the
is
end of the
exactly
day,
the same.
I think Magic had the slightly better longevity just because Bird's injury, but he can't control it. But
Sure.
I think Magic had the slightly better longevity because if Magic didn't get, what he did in 91, he would have played a lot longer and still would have been at a high level. I think Magic slightly had the longevity there. Peak. Now, peak, I'm going to need your help with. Who do you
Bird.
think? You think Larry Bird had the better peak?
Although I think Magic's fantastic, and the post 87 runs for Magic, he's just destroying the entire league for fun. But Bird from 85, 86, 87.
Peak's one season. So give me best Bird season. So best Bird season.
That's the thing, though. I think that you might be missing about the peak is it's just one massive peak, one insane plateau of basketball greatness. I think it'd be unfair. Well, the best Bird season's 86. The 86 Celtics are the.
So maybe I should change my peak criteria from not just one apex season, or a stretch you at your best.
Yeah, because it can't be someone like Hakeem. It's a peak of 94, 95. For Magic, I'd say it's 80, 87 to 91. It's just this one big stretch. I tend to be a little more generous when it comes to peak, just because Bird was top 3 in MVP voting from 1980 to 88. Just every season, he's the best or second best player in the world. running the 3 MVPs together. He has the 3 championships. I don't really see the separation. It really was him and Bird. Really was Bird and Magic neck and neck. I could see them maybe a few spots different, but 5 down to 10,
Okay,
maybe
and
too
then
much for me.
skill, I think Larry Bird's probably the more skilled player, better
Sure.
defender,
Yeah.
could still pass the ball. Uh, yeah,
Better
better
shooter.
scorer, better shooter. Impact on winning's tricky.
It's Magic, though. That's
It's
Magic.
Magic.
It
I
is,
give it to
yeah.
Magic. I really give it to Magic. Even though the
Bird,
tragic Johnson thing happened,
yeah.
I slightly just give the impact in winning. And also context, quick note though, the gap, why it looks so big is because from Magic to Shaq, from 5 to 8, I think you can interchange all those guys to me. So if you want to argue that Magic should go all the way down to 8, then he would only be a spot between Bird and him. I have a
Maybe.
hard I
Come
think
on.
that
Pick
group
your
of
list and stick with it.
I think I have Magic at 5, but
Yeah.
I think it's so close between Magic, Duncan, Kobe, and Shaq based on my criteria.
I had Magic at 5 for a while. I think I had Magic at 5 and Bird at 6. I ended up moving things around pretty recently, but I think it's good. I think Bird, like, I have Bird at 8. If he's as low as 10, it's okay. If he goes past 10 into 11, then I start questioning things. I think he's got to be in that top 10, but
The playoff translation with Bird in some spots doesn't look good. I feel
doesn't
like if
look great.
Bird had a better moment, especially some of those early Boston years after the championship, there's some series where in some playoff runs, some conference finals where Bird's efficiency drops, Bird's
That's true.
points drop, and I'm like
I had made a
literally, I
video.
think Bird's such
Go
a
ahead.
talented player. The 3 MVPs, the 3 chips. If he just had slightly better playoff moments and was a bit more consistent in some spots, he would be a lot higher. Because I truly think Larry Bird's that great at basketball. But just that playoff little 2
I get
finals
it.
MVPs. Irvin's got 3 now. Obviously, that one should have probably gone to Kareem, but 5 chips to 3. I think he appeared in more finals.
Yeah,
Slightly
Magic goes
better
to 9
longevity.
finals and
Yeah,
like 11 seasons. It's pretty ridiculous. He wins 5 of them, but you're
and
right
I think
about
it was his
the
decade
Bird
too.
playoff stuff.
And at the end of the day, if you want to say it's closer, because I do think it was. If you want to say it's closer, that's fine. But
hmm
I still think Magic. Some people say Bird over Magic. I think Magic is clearly the better player. But if you
Sure,
want to
yeah.
argue it's closer, yeah, because I think it was his decade.
I had made a video about Bird being the whole. I did the whole like review, 3 minute long video, talk in depth on Bird. I had him at 8. People asked why he's in top 5, and it is because of those playoff series. It's because for someone who's just so insanely good, there's just too many of those, like, geez, like, what happened here series. Like,
Exactly.
this is just clearly not as good, not as effective. Um, where I don't think Magic never struggles to that extent, and he's always
There's
in the
some maybe
finals.
like the tragic Johnson. There's
Sure,
some
yeah. I mean,
playoff
there's
series here and there. You could argue maybe like 83 final. Maybe
yeah.
Magic could have been a bit better. But I'm thinking like 87 Magic in the finals. Dude who's out here giving like 26 and 14.
I'm thinking 1991, the final, like, even at the very end, he's
Yeah,
taken the Lakers into the finals to face the Bulls, and at
exactly.
that point, like, Kareem's gone, James Worthy is a shell of himself, and it's like Magic and who gives a shit equals a finals appearance, and Magic really was that good.
Like, yeah, Magic can just walk in a building, easily give you 20, 14, and 7, 2 steals. That's how great Magic was. And he ran the entire decade
Yeah,
and
he
dipped
did.
his feet into the 90s. So, yeah.
I went back and if I could pull this up, I went back and looked at every single MVP ballot and wrote it down as if, like, you know how baseball does the AL and NL MVPs.
Yeah.
So the Eastern Conference and Western Conference, I didn't necessarily pick. I just looked at the votes, or if they actually voted who was going to
Who was going to be, you
who
separated
was going
like
to be
who would have been the
MVP.
West MVP, who would have
Yeah,
been the East MVP?
and I think Magic wins like 9 straight in the West. It's just
Yes.
the East goes back and forth. It's like Bird and Moses and Dr. J and all those guys, but it's just Magic, Magic, Magic,
Yes.
Magic, Magic, Magic over and over and over again. He's just by far the best player in that
Leading some of the
conference.
best offenses ever as
Yeah,
the guy running the show. And I also was like looking at this film. I mean, man, like
he's
the
crazy.
way Magic Johnson ran that break. Now, some of the bias comes from, I mean, now it's not 100% true, but I mean, you watch the show Winning Time. The man Magic Johnson out here just coming on the break, running that speedy offense, just killing dudes, bro. Just completely changed the Lakers.
We've never
Completely
really seen
changed the
anyone
Lakers.
like that until LeBron. later in his career in terms
That's
of,
what I'm
because
saying.
Magic was 6'9". He's tall.
That's what I'm
We've
saying.
in the speed and the athleticism that he had in the passing at that height, you couldn't put a smaller guy on him because he's too big. And he shot 50% from the field, and he was going to post that guy up. You couldn't put a big guy on him because he was going right by him. It's a matchup nightmare, where maybe there's more just straight up matchups for Bird in a sense.
All right. Two more things on the all-time thing, then we can
Please,
quickly
yeah.
recap the NBA finals. I know you've done your list. You're like, I think you did what, a top 100 on your TikTok or something like
Yeah,
that?
I have it out to 175 by
Okay,
now.
175.
Hmm.
I haven't seen your whole list. Where's your thoughts on Shaq and Kobe real quick? Because objectively, my opinion, you can argue Kobe, Shaq, it's fine. I think they're close, but they
Hmm.
should be close. Kobe fans will tell you that Kobe's like 3, Shaq's like 9. Where are you on this Kobe and Shaq thing?
I have Shaq at 6 and Kobe at 9.
Okay, that's not
I
bad.
don't think it's that close. I really don't. I mean, Kobe's fantastic. Shaq is the best player on planet Earth and the greatest peak ever from 2000, 2001 into 2002. I think Kobe probably starts to take over as like 1A, 1B, 2003-ish, but Shaq was better for the three-peat and was better prior to that. There's just more elite seasons for Shaq.
My argument for now, you can say Kobe, Shaq's better than Kobe. I literally switch every day because I'm like, man, 2000 Shaq was that dude.
He
I
was.
switch
2000
every
Shaq
day
was
because
insane.
I have Kobe at 7, Shaq at 8. My argument for Kobe, though, is the additional championship. That
Hmm.
matters. Now, Shaq has additional finals MVP. They both have the same MVPs. I think they have the same scoring titles, both at 2. Um, Longevity, I think Kobe beats him in longevity. I think Kobe Bryant was Kobe Bryant for longer than Shaq was Shaq for
Yeah.
long, but Shaq's longevity is underrated. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Um, I might give longevity slightly to Kobe. Peak, obviously Shaq. Obviously Shaq, it's peak. Skill, I'm giving it to Kobe. The impact on winning thing. When I think about that, obviously Shaq had the greater NBA finals. Shaq arguably had the best NBA finals ever. It's
Yeah.
either that or 93 Jordan for a person who won. For a person who won. Um, but man, it just looks bad for Shaq. The Pau Gasol rings, bro.
I get it. I get it.
Kobe winning
The
2 rings
exchange
without
is,
Shaq
yeah.
in a tough West. His impact on winning looks a little better. And
It
also when
does.
you add in the fact that when Shaq had tougher defenses in the front court, minus the 04 final, it was Kobe as the lead man. I think about the the 02 West semis when Shaq's struggling. He's 21 a game. Tim Duncan's killing him. And Kobe's 26 a game, keeping this team afloat, 27 a game. I think about all the times they played San Antonio. It's Kobe. It's Kobe. Just the impact on winning. The Shaq without Kobe thing just hurts. But it's also weird because I think Kobe probably peaked without Shaq and Shaq peaked with Kobe. So it's kind of weird that you're separating someone's career like that. I don't know. It just
It's almost
depends.
impossible because you have these two things that are so intertwined that you can't really separate them, but you are trying to. The Shaq argument is pretty cut and dry. He was at his peak,
Yes.
arguably as good as anyone has ever been in basketball,
Facts.
and in an era where every team had 7 Greg Ostertags who were like 7'2", 280 just to stop Shaq, and it
Yeah.
still didn't matter. And he ripped apart. They destroyed the league for 3
Yeah.
straight seasons. That's a three-peat, and that's tough. And
Yes.
including dominant series against just a brutal Western Conference. They're destroying
Yeah.
Dirk and the Mavs and Tim Duncan and the Spurs and the Blazers and the Jazz, and anyone and everyone can get it. And they
Mhm.
were. Where I don't think Kobe, even at his absolute best, are you ever as scared of him as you were of Shaq.
No, you're
Because
not.
there's ways to game plan against Kobe. There are ways to beat him. And
Yeah.
even in the finals that he wins, it's a rock fight where Shaq. The interesting thing about Shaq and those Lakers teams, once they get to the finals, that was the easy part. The hard part was getting
Yeah.
there.
Yes, it
Um,
was.
but it
You
just
can
didn't
tell by
matter.
Shaq's numbers.
Shaq was going to average 35 and 15, and the
Couldn't
Lakers
do
were going to
anything about
win.
it. Couldn't do anything
Could
about
do
it.
anything about
And
it.
Shaq doesn't get enough credit for what he did in Orlando, too.
That's true. He was incredible there, and he just couldn't. He didn't take care of his body well enough from like 96, 7, 8, but he still was it's from like 1995 to 1996-ish to 2003. It's Shaq as the best or second best player in the world, and then Kobe ends up. I think Kobe was a little more confused on how to impact winning up until 2009.
Yeah.
And without Shaq, I think Kobe flounders like he did in 05 and 06 in this. What do you mean we're not winning? I'm shooting 35 times a night and
Mhm.
I'm really good at basketball.
Yeah.
But it is more than that. And I take Shaq. I don't think Kobe got to that level that Shaq did. That's all I really need.
Okay. Two more things.
Yeah.
I don't know what video it was, but you gave Kevin Durant a little love on one of your videos. I'm a guy who has Kevin Durant at 13. I give him credit for winning those 2 Golden State titles. Kevin Durant recently on TikTok has been catching just the meanest strays because a lot of people just want to take away the titles in Golden State from him. People want to make it seem like Kevin Durant's just this overrated player. I think it was you on your TikTok. Kevin Durant's longevity is heavily slept on.
Yeah. He's been
This
really
is
good
a guy
for a long time.
who, as long as I started watching basketball, like 2010, he's been arguably a top 3 to 5 player in the world. And for a majority of those years, he's number 2 to 3.
Yeah. I totally agree. I
That's
have him at 14.
insane. That matters all time.
It does.
Like,
I
you're
have him
starting a
at 14.
franchise. You
Yeah.
have this guy for a decade. He's a 2 to 5 player in the world. And one of those years, he's a league MVP. Like, why do we discredit that? Like, why does that
no
not
one
matter?
likes him. Because no one likes him. It's a simple answer. No one likes Kevin Durant. He is unlikable and unforgiving in a sense where even if you're like a KD supporter, he goes and says some dumb shit, and you're like, whatever. Even people who loved KD got so burned by the whole Warriors thing, and honestly, the Nets tenure was worse because the Warriors, at least they won. The Nets was a disaster. But in terms of talent, I'll always be there. I have KD at 14. Who do you have at 13, by the way?
Oh, KD.
Sorry, who do you have at 14 then?
Jerry West.
Jerry West. Where's Hakeem? Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing somebody.
He's at 9.
Hakeem's at 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
My thing, like with Kevin
you don't
Durant,
have Dr. J in your top 15.
He's under review because
We're gonna talk about that.
Career, just strictly NBA. I got to review.
Nah, don't give me that bullshit, Steve. Don't give
We're
me
doing
that.
it. Just
It's
NBA.
not NBA. It's not just NBA. The
Okay,
ABA
then I'll
exists
do.
too.
But then I got an ABA tax because Dr. J is really high. If I just
It is. Yeah, it's an ABA. There's an ABA tax because the league wasn't as good, and the
I gotta
stats
figure out
are.
the ABA tax. I do got to figure because then if I value ABA, then I got to do an ABA tax thing, and then I also have to value ABA. I got to give Moses Malone a little ABA credit, although it's not as big as Dr. J. It takes a while. I can't just put him on my list without knowing. That's because it's ignorant.
We'll talk about it for a little bit. I got you.
Give me some time.
The KD thing is, you're totally right.
Yeah.
Since like 2010, he's been one of the 5 best players in the world, up to the best player in the world. And the Warriors rings hurt because, they were cheap rings. They weren't that hard. That Warriors team could have lost Klay Thompson and Draymond and just had Steph and KD, and they probably still win. But they had all of those guys. If you simulated the entire season 1,000 times, they win almost 1,000 times. It's perfect. They were unstoppable. And so it's hard to really gauge how good KD is in the biggest moments where he has this insane super team around him to pick up the slack when he is lacking. Because if you go back and watch the Oklahoma City Warriors 2016 second round, conference finals, the 3-1 lead, KD plays like shit in game 6. It's the whole game 6 Klay. It's also the KD shoots like 10 for 30 from the field.
Yeah, KD was bad on the stretch too.
He was bad. He was pretty good in game 7, but he was bad in game 6. And if he had Steph Curry, then they really picked that up. But I get the KD complaints, but he's got to be top 15. And I really wish if this season went better, I went into this being like, I think I'm going to argue KD's better than Hakeem. Like, I'm going to do it. Like, let's get into this. I can't do it. But then the Suns were underwhelming, and it's not KD's fault. He was still awesome, but I think he's going to be really good next season. I think he's going to be good at this year after that. We're going to be here 4 or 5 years from now. KD's still fucking awesome, and you're going to talk about him like a top 10 player ever.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he'll ever be top 10 because I still have to tax him for Golden State. But my thing is with Kevin Durant, this is a dude who has played 3 NBA finals. He's never averaged under 28 points in a final. Big deal. Big deal. He doesn't get enough credit for taking an Oklahoma City team as a man to an NBA finals. He's outscoring LeBron Ramon James in a final. People think he's the GOAT. That's a big deal. Yes, Golden State gets taxed. That's a great team. Steph Curry's gravity does that did help Kevin Durant on the floor, open up space the floor. But but there's like 3 players I'd say in the NBA history who, if you swap them out with Kevin Durant, put him next to Curry's gravity, who are averaging 35 points in an NBA final. You still have to give Kevin Durant was still the one who was closing those games, and there were still points in those 2 finals in Golden State where Steph Curry was bad or mid, and it was Kevin Durant closing games, Kevin Durant still bringing them to those wins. But people don't see that, and people just still would say Kevin Durant did absolutely nothing. I don't like Kevin. I still have some hate in my heart for Kevin Durant because he took some rings away from LeBron James, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Yo, what up, Mike?
Yo, what's good, man?
Bro, whipping right. Yo, you driving, bro? Bro, whipping right now. Got the do-rag on, bro. He just chilling, bro. He just chilling. Yeah, so that's the Kevin Durant thing. And one more thing on the what I have. Oh, the comp argument. When I was doing my I'm going through stuff I was talking about on my live last night. Competition argument, I just hate so much. Okay, George Mikan, plumber to me. These dudes are plumber. I think I've seen a picture of George Mikan wearing a belt for his uniform. I think George Mikan's an absolute plumber. These pre-shot clock era dudes.
I'm very pro plumber. I'm a pro plumber.
These pre-shot clock era dudes. I've seen George Mikan splits when the shot clock got introduced. These pre-shot clock era dudes, I don't rank. They're plumbers to me. But post-shot clock era dudes, I give credit to. I rank them. I rank the Bill Russells of the world, the Jerry West. I rank the Wilt Chamberlains. Here's my thing, right? Like, I stop listening to you if you talk basketball and you call guys like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain plumbers, and you say these guys played absolutely no competition, because I don't think you know anything about basketball. Because here's my thing, and I think it's the most inconsistent argument ever. Bill Russell quite literally could go out there and have a 20 and 30 game on 7 foot, arguably the most athletic man in the world, Wilt Chamberlain's head in like an NBA final. And you'll scream to me that he played absolutely no competition. But meanwhile, you'll praise, not bat an eye about competition if LeBron drops 40 points on dudes like CJ Miles.
Damn, what did the CJ Miles see? Poor CJ Miles.
But am I spitting though? Like,
I get it. Yeah, I've always been. I like to judge him for
wing defender, and you'll not even bat an eye about competition. But Bill Russell could quite literally have 30 rebounds as 6'9" on a 7-footer who had a 45 vertical, or the best athlete probably ever.
Yeah,
and we'll say that's no comp, doesn't count.
It's not up to them who they're playing. I've always been very fair. I've been like, they play the guys in front of them, and if they're really good, they're really good. As it gets further back, yeah, we talked about taxing on the all-time list. They take a hit. Russell takes a little bit of a hit. Will takes a hit.
Yeah,
as you keep going further back, I get it, but I'm not gonna get into the comp argument, because I don't know. Play the comp argument.
No, dude, this is a league with Jerry West, Bill Russell, Elgin Baylor, John Havlicek, Cousy. These are some of the greatest players to ever play the game. Like, Jerry West is better than most point guards today. I'm sorry. And I also don't think, here's my thing. I think yes, the game has changed. Clearly. Like, you don't need to be like the most intelligent person in the world to see that the game's changed. But can we argue that we over-exaggerate a tad how much the game has changed? I think really the only aspect of the game that's really changed is how advanced the ways to score are. Because I don't think passing has just changed drastically. Yeah. I don't. It's just that you tell me rebounding changed, shot blocking did change because there's a goaltending in 3 seconds. But I mean, how affected would those shot blockers be if you just give them new rules? What fast defense? Do you think defense has changed? I mean, there's new defensive rules, but just the ability to move on defense, has that changed? The really only things that's changed is they've loosened up the rules. There's different ways to score now. You can carry now on Hezzies pretty much and get away with it. You could travel on Euro steps. Like, really the only way is now scoring's more advanced now than ever. But other than that, like, how far has basketball really changed for you to say these guys should not even be on an argument list? Like, come on, bro.
I just think part of making these lists is talking about all the players that have played. And if you don't want to do it, then you're missing out. It sucks. But I've been watching old finals. I have too.
I was watching there was like a 30-30 on Bill Walton 77 Portland run, and I'm seeing Bill Walton, Artis Gilmore, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
This is 25 years NBA champions. And I've been watching it, and it just the way the game's changed is, well, the athletes are better, faster, stronger, and I get that. But the biggest difference is the way the game's officiated. You can't you have to dribble with your hand on top of the ball. And if you ever go play basketball and try doing that, it's really hard. It's really hard to
Dudes like John Moran, when they
space
head beat, the ball's pretty much under here now.
Yeah, they're basically just tucking under their shirts and running around with it. And that's I think it's the biggest difference. But
like, imagine if Jerry West can go get like Phil Handy and Kyrie's trainers, probably like the best point guard in the world.
You could it's a culture thing as well. Just growing up watching Kyrie, watching Steph, learning handles, man. Because when you grew up if you grew up in the '60s and you're like, my idol is Max Slavsky of the New York Knicks, because he can dribble with both hands, he can switch hands and dribble this way and then dribble that way, and that's what basketball was.
He can shoot a left-hand layup.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, so that's it for my all-time criteria stuff. I really disagree most. So let's talk about this NBA Finals, because there's some NBA. The title is Jokic already greater than your favorite players. Because Jokic moved up a lot, and I just want to talk about the narratives in the NBA Finals, and then we're gonna get to your Hall of Fame thing that I'm interested in talking about. So the NBA Finals, we all saw it. It was a couple days ago. I don't have to go too big into the recap because you guys have probably heard recaps all the time. But Nuggets won 4-1. They dominated the finals. This was a forgettable finals. Not watching it again unless I have to go back and do a Jokic all-time thing. I'm sorry, there's no entertaining games. That's just me. No aura to the finals. There was no aura to the finals. No aura at all. Unless Nikola Jokic absolutely becomes a top 10 player ever. There's maybe some aura, but there's absolutely no aura to this finals. Forgettable. But Jokic dominated. You said earlier that Shaq changed the game. Teams started adding 7 Greg Oster tags. Yeah. We might start seeing that with Nikola Jokic. Teams might. We went small ball in the end. We went small ball for a while to compete with Golden State, to compete with Houston. We might be going bigger now with Nikola Jokic, because teams are figuring out I'm too small. Pause.
It's Jokic and Embiid. You got it. If you want to win, and Giannis. I think Giannis started that in 2021, where it's holy shit, we need a tall, strong guy again.
We might need the Cody Zellers of the world just got 5 more years on their contract. Basically.
Absolutely, I think that died. That all died with the 2020 Rockets, or 2021 with Westbrook and Harden.
Westbrook
they
had
had no centers.
PJ Tucker at center, yeah.
And they were like, all right, we're doing this, and that failed. And they're like, okay, never trying that again. That was
Golden State. They learned their lesson this year. You can't have Draymond at center. You can't have Kevon Looney at center. Guys like AD are going to eat you alive.
Yeah.
So the NBA is going to go bigger. But Jokic dominated. We all know that. I'm not going to talk about the finals. Jamal Murray had great. He was 21-10. Jokic averaged a triple-double in that playoff run. Honestly, the playoffs, so I said the finals were forgettable. These playoffs were memorable. I love these playoffs. These were all-time great playoffs. Warriors, Lakers, Heat. We had some great series. But as far as Nikola Jokic all time, I don't know where he's at.
That was very strange. He just hopped in the car.
Yeah.
All right.
He sometimes, when he does come on the pod, he joins, I think on his break from work. But then, he says he joins, but then he's he's back. Nice. Yo, you straight, bro?
Yeah, I was in a rough spot.
Bro is driving. Okay. Let's talk about Nikola Jokic, what this finals. First of all, let me ask you, what do you think, possible chairs, and we can ask Mike, what this did for Nikola Jokic's legacy, and then we're going to play a game where I try to see where he ranks all time.
Please.
So, first of all, we can officially put this Jokic versus Embiid shit to bed.
Yeah, that was my other question, too. I was going to ask, what does Jokic winning do for Joel Embiid? What does that mean for Joel Embiid?
Yeah, he gotta. I mean, for this to be a conversation again, he needs to at least make a finals, because true, he stole that MVP, but that is something that he got under his belt now. So I mean, Jokic got 2 of them. If he gets a finals appearance, let alone a finals ring, I mean, that might put the conversation back in motion. But for right now, I can't entertain it.
But it couldn't just be a finals appearance. It would have to be, he would have to have that playoff run like a Nikola Jokic. He couldn't just make a finals. He would have to have a dominant playoff run like Jokic. He would have to have a dominant final like Jokic.
I mean, but he's not terrible in the playoffs at all, though.
Embiid? Embiid sucks in the playoffs. He's not that good,
bro.
I don't like the shots he gets and his efficiency.
That's why I didn't say he's good in the playoffs. Like he's not terrible in the playoffs.
He refuses to post up Marcus Smart, and he plays too outside. So
I just think the style of game Embiid plays isn't as good, and it's like a Jordan Drexler thing at this point, where it's like, okay, we kind of fucked that one up. Jokic is
like
way
the regular
better.
season.
Sorry about that.
It looks cool. It looks cool. And I wasn't from the 90s, but I heard there were some narratives like, yo, could Drexler be better than Jordan? Heard those narratives. There was people up here in my lives, people on the internet trying to convince that, because I think people put too much stock in Embiid's defense and underrated how
way too much stock. Way too much stock.
Nikola Jokic's offensive playmaking could be to a team. Because people think offense and defense are like 50-50. I don't think so.
Not 50-50.
So yeah, like like you said, this Embiid thing's buried. Unless Embiid can somehow have like a 33-15 playoff run.
It's going to take a lot, but Embiid doesn't have that in the playoffs. He just doesn't.
He doesn't have it in him, no.
The way Embiid plays isn't playoff-friendly basketball, where Jokic is like, I'm gonna get to this spot, and I'm going to get that shot for me or for somebody else, where Embiid likes to post up at the free throw line, read the defense, wait for Al Horford to block his shot, and try to do these post ups and stuff, and then take fadeaway jumpers. It's not good playoff basketball. I read a stat, it's a very simple stat, that Embiid had like, I think 70 something dunks in the regular season. He's huge. Why isn't he dunking the basketball more? Domantas Sabonis can jump about this high, and he had more dunks this season.
He doesn't play under the basket enough.
He does not play over the basket, and yet he's like the biggest, fastest, best footwork in the league. And he still takes these jumpers that drive me crazy.
Said it during the regular season. This man probably had the most dominant regular season. That's why I think he won the MVP. He's not Shaq, but I think he can have some Shaq-like dominance with his body being 7 foot, 300 pounds. And bro, you were saying posting up at the free throw line. No one's taking that seriously in the playoffs. Boston's putting Marcus Smart on you on the free throw line. No one's taking that post up seriously because they know you're not going anywhere with it.
I agree. And we talked about Shaq earlier.
Jokic can post up from the free throw line because he can see the entire court.
Yeah.
But you're not Jokic.
Embiid's always struggled to handle those double teams where double teaming Jokic is a death sentence. And for Embiid, we talked about Shaq earlier being arguably as good as anyone ever got a basketball at that peak. And he just stuffing dudes through the rim, where Embiid, I've never seen Embiid just like, oh my God, like he's going to post this guy up and dunk on him and dunk on that guy, and the other team's just screwed. I always feel like he's wants to make it a boxing match where it's like, all right, I'm going to do this and you do this. We're going to dance around for a little bit. And he just doesn't go for the kill like that, where Jokic is like slow, painful strangulation of the other team.
So who's their coach now? It's the Toronto guy, Nick Nurse. You think Nick Nurse could change that a bit? Maybe he's going to put Joel Embiid more on the block?
Yeah, I think he's going to say, don't ever take a fucking jumper again. Ever in your life. Stop doing it.
You're 300 pounds.
Stop doing it.
Stop trying to ISO Marcus Smart from the top of the key. Stop. You're going to get double teamed and you're going to turn the ball over. So, yeah, but Nikola Jokic, 2-time MVP, championship, all-time great playoff run. We're going to play this game. Nikola Jokic is higher than blank all time. I'm going to give you some names.
Okay.
And you tell me why Nikola Jokic is either lower or higher. Also, this is based on your own criteria, too. I'm going to give you some names. And this is not going to be, like, easy or anything. These are guys who I'd say could be around Nikola Jokic.
Good.
We'll start with Dwayne Wade.
He's higher than Wade.
Why is he higher than Wade? Give me a brief explanation, too.
I don't think Wade was ever the best player on earth. I don't think he ever has a 3-year run like this. He's never an MVP caliber player by any stretch, and Jokic has been.
For 1 year he was, 2009, I'd say.
Yeah, he has one top 4 finish in MVP voting. It's whatever. He's like 81st in MVP shares. It's not that close.
What about you, Mike? You part of this game, bro.
For right now, I think I'm gonna go lower. I'm not ready to put him there. Like, he has been dominating for a while, but like, I'm not ready to put him over somebody who carried a team like he did in that finals.
Yeah, I think Dwayne Wade gets a lot of stock.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. I was looking at my phone. Sorry. I was pulling up my criteria on my phone so I can make sure if I give my answer.
What's so important to me is being the best player in the world. That's if you get to this point into the 20-ish range, that's hard to get. You really need to find people who've been that. I don't think Wade was ever that. Although
That's my thing.
I do have to correct myself. Wade is 55th all time in MVP shares, which is he's just not an MVP caliber guy. He either isn't playing in enough games or isn't good enough, or Jokic is doing both of those things.
And this is my thing, bro. I like when you say the MVP of the league stuff, best player in the world stuff. I haven't seen all these takes on TikTok, bro. I don't care. Ray Allen and Reggie Miller aren't better than Allen Iverson, bro. People hate people who are MVPs of the league. People don't respect dudes who can be arguable top 3 to 5 players in the association. People don't like that. I get it. Allen Iverson has some efficiency stuff, but you're not going to tell me dudes who barely make the All-NBA third team are just somehow better basketball players than Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson does have that stuff. I get that. But what Allen Iverson did in this league, the aura, the levels that we were talking about Allen Iverson, I wasn't really alive, but I was, but I was getting breastfed. Like
we were there. I was one. We were there.
Yeah, but like the conversations Allen Iverson was in during that time period, that's top 5 to 7 players in the league. I don't think Reggie Miller and Allen Iverson were, Ray Allen were consistently in that convo, but all of a sudden you're just going to put Allen Iverson below them all time for what reason? Those dudes were never MVPs of this league.
I know. Yeah.
Those dudes never had the responsibility. Reggie Miller at points. Those dudes really never had the responsibility of Allen Iverson. Those dudes never had what Allen Iverson had. Those dudes were never in a conversation of an Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson in the conversation with Kobe Bryant. Dudes in the conversation with, he's not better than Shaq, but he was in that.
He was there. He was in that conversation with him
Shaq,
and T-Mac
some
and
of the best
Duncan.
players in the world for a stretch. Ray Allen wasn't. I think Ray Allen's underrated, but to say Ray Allen's better is crazy.
That is crazy. Kieran was on here, and Kieran has my least favorite take of all time. God bless him, though, with the Reggie Miller portability thing, whatever the fuck that means. Where it's Reggie
dude glazed port can just suck my nuts,
the Reggie Miller.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he is more portable because a guy who can just get his own shot and run off screens is
and Klay Thompson's more portable. Teams. Like, come on.
Yeah, dude. And awesome. He's gonna be more portable, and now your team sucks because Reggie Miller is your best player instead of Allen Iverson. He can be more portable, but if your team is worse because of it, I don't really care. If Allen Iverson had the blessing of how those Pacers teams were built, which were those were stacked Pacers teams.
Great.
At some point in the late 90s, like 99 or the 2000 run, all their starters either were going to be an all-star, were an all-star,
Jalen Rose out here pretty much matching points per game with Reggie Miller.
They were stacked, and Iverson doesn't get that kind of supporting cast. He gets like one time, but they're not the same level. But
like Reggie Miller's portability is greater than James Harden. But are you going to discredit James Harden for being MVP of this league, top 5 player consistently? No, bro. Like, what are we doing?
Not at all.
Portability is the only thing I've heard on TikTok, by the way. I only hear these on like TikTok. People trying to be like, "Oh, I'm smarter than you because this player is better." Port, dude.
What the fuck does that mean? Sorry,
port matters to a GM, not your all-time list. Like, come on.
I think I have a different way of looking at it where I call it scaling up and scaling down. Like Chris Bosh, All-Star, All-NBA, take the Raptors to 40-ish wins, scale down, third guy in a title team, help win championships. Where someone like Draymond Green, third guy in a championship team. Hey, Draymond, can you win 21 games as your team's best player? Can't do it. All right, nope. He's not scaling up.
Not at all.
So that's just that conversation. But I'm not looking at hypothetical offenses that guys didn't play in. How good were they? Stop fucking around.
Yeah.
All right, we got Wade out of the way. Who's next?
Okay. David Robinson.
Oh, yeah. Jokic is better than David Robinson.
Okay.
By a fucking mile. David Robinson, it's a 7-year stretch where he's in San Antonio before Duncan, and he has more bad playoff moments and good ones. He's just not good enough to be the best player on a team that matters.
What about you, Mike? Yo, can you hear us? Or are you just thinking?
He's thinking hard about David Robinson.
I'm going Jokic as well, by the way.
I don't know if he can hear us. This dude's not. He's
yeah.
going. Okay, all right.
I'm taking Jokic as well. I'll take Jokic over D Wade. I'll also take Jokic over David Robinson. D Wade has 2 more championships, but I value in Jokic's 2 MVPs over Dwayne Wade's 2 extra championships.
Oh yeah,
they have the same amount of Finals MVPs. Longevity goes to Dwayne Wade. Peak. Who are you saying peak? Jokic.
It's Jokic. It's the
Okay,
same thing. Jokic, I don't think you ever ended a 3-year stretch and we're like, I think Jokic has been the best player in the world.
That's my problem with Dwayne Wade is 2006 and 2009 were some great 2006 run, 2009 regular season. Those are some great Dwayne Wade years. Those are some all-time years. That's why he's at the spot where he's at. My issue with Dwayne Wade is kind of like yours. I don't think Dwayne Wade strung enough seasons together to be in this like extra above upper echelon tier. If he had 06 or like an 09 type season for like 2 more years, oh yeah, dude, like yeah.
But it is just 2 seasons where he's really, really awesome. And Jokic has 3 seasons where he's awesome. Bro. So there you go. And I want the seasons where you were the best player in the world. All right.
I've seen that 2013 Indiana series where he was like 12 a game, bro. And LeBron, it had to be just LeBron. I don't think there was a Nikola Jokic moment where he could just like get a championship on a playoff run where he's not that great. Okay. For that. Giannis.
I have Giannis ahead of Jokic still.
Okay.
I think that's a good. Giannis has been good since 2017. Jokic since 2019. That's the difference. They have 2 MVPs. They have 2 rings, but it's 2 extra All NBA seasons, and that matters when you're talking about. I think the race is going to happen right in front of us right now. Jokic is like they're basically neck and neck, and I think Jokic's game is going to age a lot better. But for what has happened, I think Giannis is just a bit ahead.
I think they're really close. I can see the argument for both. Off the top of my head, though, I might go Nikola Jokic just because I think he fares so much on the impact on winning thing. I think he fares so. What hurts Giannis is his impact against elite defenses. It does drop.
I agree.
With Nikola Jokic, I feel like you can throw any defense at him and it won't drop. But if you want to say Giannis, I can completely see why. He does have the extra All NBA season strung together. And his NBA Finals performances was amazing. Like I can see why you could say Giannis. But what about you, Mike? If you can hear us.
I can. It's cutting in and out. I can hear y'all, but I'm probably still going to go Giannis. What Nikola Jokic has done so far is good, but we're talking about a player that's like for the past 5 years been in the top running for MVP. So like I still like this playoff series he just had, that first round, like that kind of hurt him a lot, but at the same time, like he still was top 3 in MVP voting, and you can't just write him off of that.
Yeah, he does have the extra longevity in seasons strung
just a little
together.
bit, yeah. Those 2 Miami series, though.
Yeah, better defense if we're gonna be.
Yeah,
Giannis a better defender. I mean, yeah, he does have the defensive player of the year, which is
if I'm going to argue for Giannis for a second, for Jokic over Giannis just for a second. Giannis does have those 2 Heat series this year, and then I think the bubble, where it was just like, holy shit, like what the hell was that? Like that was not good. Just bad Giannis series where he's not getting his shots, he's running into he's running people over, picking up charges, making weird decisions in the clutch. Where Jokic is. Well, his defense has been picked on. He's rarely like, I've never watched Jokic play and be like, this is terrible. Where watching Giannis in that closeout game against Miami this year, I was like, this is not good at all. He looks
Giannis Antetokounmpo I will say in the series where he's been eliminated since he's been an MVP in the 4th quarter in that eliminating game, he's like 3 points a game on terrible efficiency.
It's not good.
Yeah, when he plays, but he accomplished so much, and I can't discredit what he did in 2021. He has the extra longevity, so if you want to say Giannis, that's fine. But last 2 guys here, big men, Dirk Nowitzki.
I got Dirk still. Dirk was really, really, really good for a long time. Jokic, as awesome as he is, it's 5 seasons. I believe. I think Jokic is 27 right now. I think Dirk was 27 in 2006. Like there's so much more to go. He missed out missing the entire 2011 run, the 2007 MVP, as bad as the playoffs were, elite season after elite season after elite season. If Jokic gives me one more, if he wins the title next year, then yeah, he has what Dirk doesn't have, which is that many seasons at the top. But for now, I'm taking Dirk.
What about you, Mike? This dude's in and out, bro.
All right, next guy. What do you think about Dirk?
Yeah, I had to remove him, bro.
Yeah, keep it. Yeah, we'll keep it. We'll keep it.
Unfortunately, bro, just he was driving, couldn't hear. My thing on Dirk, I'll go Dirk. I'll go Dirk. I think Jokic got the accolades, but the longevity gap's there. I might go peak Jokic. I'm gonna go peak Jokic.
Yeah, peak is
Um,
Jokic.
peak Jokic. Skill, I'm gonna go Jokic, but the longevity gap, that's it. Because I do think eventually, I can't project though, but I do think Jokic will pass Dirk, but the longevity gap's there. But he's close. He's close.
It's super close. It's super close. I'd still
Because
take
the
Dirk.
impact
Though.
on winning, man, we saw 2011 Dirk. We've seen these
saw,
Dirk great playoff runs from Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk's giving KG 33 a game in a series. We've seen it.
And Dirk was like a guaranteed really good team and a pretty impactful playoff run.
Guaranteed 40 wins a season. Guaranteed.
Yeah, from like 2002 to 2000 to 2011, basically, where it's just like, yeah, the Mavs are in the playoffs. Yeah, the Mavs are in the playoffs. Yeah, look out for Dirk over and over and over again.
And I also think there's this narrative out here that he's like a playoff dropper. He has some I think he has
some bad moments. He
has 3 series, like the 06 finals, I think averaging the same amount of points as Jace Terry is not that good. The 07 Warriors, literally as an MVP, is bad. I think there's another series here and there where he was a dropper, but other than that, that's like 3 series of the ability he played at a rising level.
I would describe it as volatile, more just volatile, where it's like, yeah, he might be the best player on earth, and it's like, holy shit, we can't stop Dirk. He might just the floor falls out from under him, and he's terrible. But volatile can be bad, but he's not just straight up worse in the playoffs, I don't think.
Yeah. What about last guy, Kevin Garnett?
I'm taking Jokic over Garnett.
Jokic over Garnett, but not over Nowitzki. Explain that. TikTok. What I noticed from TikTok, I
misspoke. I'm taking KG.
Okay, I was about to say because TikTok would say KG's like the 13th greatest player ever, which I don't understand.
TikTok, that's fucking ridiculous. KG's not that good. A quick KG spiel. KG was missing the playoffs. Are you still here?
Yeah.
Sorry, you froze for a second. KG was missing the playoffs in like 2005, 6, 7. And he just gets like a wild pass for that, where guys like T-Mac were taking shitty Orlando teams to the playoffs. And I don't know why it's okay for KG to not be good enough to get his team to like 38 wins, but he just gets that pass.
Any other player would have done it. I've seen how heavily taxed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar gets for missing the playoffs by some people.
He was hurt.
People put Kareem at 8. And then if he missed, and people say, oh, he missed the playoffs in his prime, they'll put him at 8 when he should be 3 or 3.
He's 3. He's pretty
Kevin Garnett gets a pass for missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? I think when it comes to KG, they just see like what he did in 04 and just immediately assume that was Kevin Garnett for like 15 years.
It was. And I think it's close just because, again, I don't think KG, let's say KG is the best player in the world in 2004. Kind of in 03, he's like close, but Jokic, just you get these 3 seasons where it's like, holy shit, MVP, second place MVP in a ring. KG has nothing close to that other than this longevity. I could be talked into Jokic over KG just because of that. It's going to just give me 1 year. If Jokic is great again next year, then I'll do it. But because those seasons where you are at the top are just so valuable in terms of these lists, because KG could just kind of float around like he's not as good as Shaq. He's not as good as Kobe. He's not as good as Duncan. He does kind of exist in that like top 5, but not top 3 range for most of the Wolves years.
Kevin Garnett, I would take Kevin Garnett just because of the longevity gap.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's where it's at right now. I don't want to go too crazy.
Kevin Garnett had the better peak. You can.
I'm not making that argument. Who's making that argument? That's a ridiculous argument.
Two-way ability. Two-way ability. People glaze.
Sure. Yeah, but he was.
You asked some people, Kevin Garnett had like a top 5 peak ever because they believe
that's
04 is like the greatest.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good. Jokic is like a guaranteed. Did we not just watch what happened? He fucked the entire league for.
But he doesn't play defense.
It doesn't matter. You can play. As long as he's average on defense, which he was.
Smart.
He just destroy people with his passing and his rebounding and his scoring. If you're a bad defensive player like James Harden and they just go at Harden and at him, that actually has an impact on the game. They weren't attacking Jokic. Like no one's attacking Jokic. You can attack Jokic all you want. He's just attacking a pretty average defensive center.
I think Golden State did though last year.
last year. Now, the thing is, you can space him out with a crazy 3-point shooting.
Yeah,
Not every
exactly.
team has
You
that.
need to
The
have that
Wolves didn't have
insane
that. The
spacing.
Lakers didn't have that. The Suns definitely didn't have that. And the Heat didn't have that either. So at that point, you played 4 rounds. You didn't play like a 3-point specialist team. I think that's like a very unique scenario.
Yeah, if you have insane spacing and you pick and roll Jokic to death, yeah. But if you don't have like 5 guys out on the perimeter, you're running a 5 out, and Jokic has to be at the top of the key the entire possession, then yeah.
If you don't have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson,
And then
like
Jordan Poole's hot that
yeah,
series too.
and he was
Poole's
hot too. And at that point, it's like anyone would have gotten taken to task by this. Like any center would have had a hell of a time. It just looks bad when it's Jokic.
Imagine if Tim Duncan had to be spaced out like that.
Yeah,
Pause.
he would have this. He would have the same. He would have the same problem. He had the same problem. Anyone would have the same issue because that's the entire game of basketball. Is you get the big guys on the small guys and the small guys on the big guys. It just happens to look bad when it's Jokic.
Okay, so real quick on Jimmy Butler. Is Jimmy Butler a fraud?
No, he just ran out of gas.
He just ran out of
The
gas.
Nuggets are way better. At that
Is
point,
he better
he
than
could have.
Tatum?
What?
Is he better than Tatum?
Yeah,
He
it's
is.
it's close. It's close, but I take him because I like the game that Butler plays in the playoffs more. If you're trying to get 55 wins, Tatum's your guy, but it's the jump shot shit, man. It goes back to what we talked about with Embiid. It's taking jump shots. It's like being a jump shot reliant
He's
player.
very 3-point reliant
He
though.
takes a lot of threes, doesn't get to the basket. Where Jimmy's like, I'm making layups, I'm playing hard ass defense. Pause. And then I'm gonna get to my spots, and it's gonna be great. But
His spots though, if he can't switch bait a smaller defender and get a foul, it does look bad. I do think
they're
Tatum was more.
bad Butler games, but a lot better. The thing with Butler is it's just there's no way to take him out. There's no way to take him out of the game. He's gonna play awesome defense. He's gonna facilitate. He's gonna rebound. Even if he's scoring, it's a bonus. Where for Tatum, if the jump shots aren't falling, what is he? He's not locking up the other team's best player. He's not crashing the glass. He's not getting other players his looks. He's a score first guy. And in the playoffs, when the shots get harder, those guys take a dive.
My thing with Tatum though is I have to revisit my regular season criteria because I did my all-time criteria, but I got to do my regular season criteria now. My thing with Tatum though is like you said, the 55 wins thing, bro. People put him at 8 to 10. I don't think Tatum's an 8 to 10 guy. I think Tatum more falls into the 5 to 7 guys in the league right now because I mean we're talking about a dude. He's back-to-back first-team All-Pro. That matters to me. Like that absolutely matters to me. He's
Your
giving
football's coming out a little bit.
He's giving you 39 and 5 a game on decent defense, leading the team
fantastic.
to a final. 7 games in a West East Finals the next year. He's top 5 in Game 7 points per game. He's giving you 51 in a closeout in a Game 7.
He's better than Reggie Miller all time.
All of a sudden, like Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum's giving me the same numbers. I think they finished with literally the same numbers in the playoffs. I think it was about 29 a game. But Jason Tatum gets no praise for it. That's just my thing on Tatum. Because where I have Tatum on my list, I have to revisit my criteria.
My thing is,
I got Tatum at like 5'6".
Is if you've built your team around Tatum averaging 30, and then all of a sudden he doesn't, like you got to have your superstar be consistent. The role players can come and go, but someone's got to be consistent. And Butler, while he faltered in the finals,
Butler's consistency.
He trademarked Timmy buckets and played like shit for 9 straight games, which is a huge mistake. But he was great. He was at the Milwaukee series. He was great, and Butler killed the Knicks, and he killed the Celtics, and he was better. I mean, you can't. The Jaylen Brown was bad in that Celtics series, but Tatum's got to be better.
What about Dame to Miami? And then we'll get to your Hall of Fame thing.
Please.
What do you think about Dame to Miami? Rumors true? You feeling a Dame to Miami?
I'm feeling it.
How does he get there?
Miami has the assets in terms of just picks and Tyler Hero and Kyle Lowry and whatnot, but this Portland thing is ridiculous. The Dame thing is ridiculous because last season he was like, "I'm staying in Portland. We're shutting this down, and I'm shutting all these rumors down. We're going to stay here, and I'm going to live here." And now he's like on podcasts, like, "If I were to live in Miami," and it's like, "Whoa, like what happened? What happened to the whole?"
Oh yeah, now
thing?
he's on Instagram Live saying, "Yo, I want to be a Boston Celtic. Like, yo, I wouldn't be mind going to the Lakers." yo, if the Celtics don't win a championship, I don't mind going to Boston. Like,
So
what is
now
this,
he's
bro?
done nothing but just drag this out for like 4 seasons of like, no, I'm
Should have
not
left
leaving.
5 years
No, I'm
ago.
not leaving. I'm not. Now he's 33 or however old
Mhm.
he is, and
Sounds
in
about right.
point guards his size and with his point guards of his size don't age super well. Like he's not going to be
32.
LeBron in terms of longevity. It's going to catch up to you eventually. You can't be elite at the point guard position for that long. That's basically what I got. I think him and Butler be fantastic. You get, I think, a real actual contender in the Heat heading into next season. But what a disaster in Portland because they have the 3rd pick. Looks like that might be Scoot Henderson.
How does he get there?
What is
What
that? What is that team? I said this before the season. I predicted the Blazers to win 35 games, and everyone's like, "You doubt Jeremy Grant and Dame." And I'm like, "This team isn't that good. It's just not that
You
good."
doubt what's his name? Shaden Sharp. You doubt Shaden Sharp.
But even if the rebuild starts now and they take Scoot Henderson, all of a sudden you have Dame and Scoot and Simons and Sharp, and it's like, what is this team? They learn, not only did they learn nothing from the CJ McCollum disaster, which is just, hey, can 2 small guards who can't play defense win a title? No, all right. Didn't learn anything from that. Just straight into, how about 4 small guards? Tried 4 small guards. Is that maybe that will
Yeah,
work
because Simon's
instead?
gonna
It's
be
like,
on
what
the
are we
team
doing?
too.
It's just a ridiculous franchise.
How does he get there? It's weird. I haven't seen a proposed package yet. I think if I'm Miami, I think the package to get like a Beal would be a lot better. Because what is Portland gonna accept for Dame? Duncan
I don't
Robinson,
know.
Tyler Hero, like 4 picks.
4 picks, something like that. And at that point, you take it. But the Bradley Beal thing is hilarious. Bradley Beal's not that good. He's like a top 30-ish player in the league, and his contract is ridiculous.
I think that's the thing. I actually think Bradley Beal's impact on winning is weird because one thing is me like, yo, he's putting up 30 points per game and it's not doing anything. But 2, it's like he's also on a bad team. 3,
Why do you
also
think
has
the
a bad
team is
contract.
bad? Why do you think the team is bad? He's not that good. I mean, the team had Kyle Kuzma and Kristaps Porzingis and all those pieces. It wasn't like
He
he
is
was
regressing though.
dragging.
He
He
is
is
regressing.
regressing after
He is
they
regressing.
got rid of all like the push off stuff and the offensive rules. And
I was talking about him in like 2019, 18 when he's
yeah,
like 29, 31 a
he
game.
was great. He was great for a little bit, but he's just.
He's
If
regressing.
Bradley Beal's your best player, things aren't good. If he's your second best player, it's much better, but he's paid like a first option. He's paid like he's the best player on planet Earth, and so it's almost impossible to design a team around him. He'd be the greatest third option ever, but again, paid like a first option. So he's handicapped both his ability to win through his contract and his ability to be built around.
So all Miami's depth gets thrown out for Bradley Beal.
They get Jovic, they get I guess the Lowry contract, Duncan
You got to give
Robinson.
up Hero, right? Or
You give
like
up Hero.
Duncan. Someone.
At that point, I don't know. I don't know how much value Tyler Hero is. Is Hero like a top 80-ish player in the league right now? Is he? He's in like the
Yeah,
Gordon,
he is. Yeah.
like around there. It's like, okay, he has a big ass contract. He's not that good on defense, and his team made the finals without him. So okay, awesome.
All right. We're going to get your Hall of Fame thing, but emergency timeout. Your boy has to use the restroom. This water was killing me.
All right, go ahead.
If you want to say any basketball take to the chat, say it.
All right. My hot basketball take is George Mikan's a top 20 player of all time, and he should be. And Steven and his ridiculous plumber spiel. I'm going to get on him later about that. Mikan won 7 championships in 8 years. He was the both dominant and a pioneer of the game. They added the shot clock because other teams were purposely stalling to stop Mikan from getting up and down the court. They had to ban goaltending because he was doing it. They had to ban the 3 seconds and widen the lane because he was doing that. He made basketball get his shit together in a sense where it's just like, hey, he's back. I was giving my George Mikan spiel.
My mic was muted. I ran back in and said, if you're talking about George Mikan, I'm not.
I was.
You.
I was.
Okay. So to wrap up the show, you were telling me last week you wanted to talk about the Hall of Fame and like its misconceptions. I'm pretty sure about like you're talking about like how easy it is to get in the Hall of Fame is kind of misunderstood, something like that. So talk me through that.
Sure, I want the Basketball Hall of Fame to hire me as a spokesperson to explain to fans what the Hall of Fame is and what a Hall of Famer looks like. Because I think the average fan, even someone like myself, like 6 months ago, no fucking clue on how to get into the Hall of Fame, who's a Hall of Famer, what that looks like. And I want to talk about this now because with the off season, like we talked about earlier, you have a lot of time on your hands. You have a lot of time to talk about narratives, talk about legacies. You start
Yes.
asking yourselves questions like,
It's better than the game itself.
It's better than the game itself. You start asking yourself questions like, is Kyle Lowry a Hall of Famer? Is DeMar DeRozan a Hall of Famer? Preposterous questions you should never ask yourself ever. And I always make videos on who's a Hall of Famer, who's not, and I always get the comment, the Basketball Hall of Fame is so easy to get into. It's so easy to get into. I think that's just wildly misconstrued because so many people do get into it. But I went through, being the sane person that I am, I went through every single Basketball Hall of Famer that played the NBA ever. And 1 second. I found there's 143 players. Am I still here?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
sorry,
glitchy, though.
my
Yeah,
computer.
there you go.
Okay, I'm back. There's 143 players that played in the NBA that made the Hall of Fame. That's it,
Okay.
143. But going through that, you have so many pioneers. 26 guys of the 143 played like Dwight Eisenhower era basketball in the 40s, in the 50s. They made the Hall of Fame in the 80s because they were pioneers of the game. They're plumbers, exactly.
Yeah.
There are 13. Sorry, there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that made the Hall because of EuroLeague, and I'd say there are about 8 guys that made the Hall because of college basketball. And with that, you're left with 115 guys. Sorry, left with about 100 players that are just straight up play the NBA in the Hall of Fame as is. That's so much lower than people are realizing. What do you think about that?
And how many of those people got an extra boost because they were coaches as well?
There's other boosts like that, and I went through that. There's 115 coaches, 80 contributors, 17 referees, 12 teams, and 81 non-NBA players. I went through all of them, and only 11 of players where I'm like, okay, that's an interesting Hall of Fame case. It's Roger Brown, Gus Johnson, Paul Westphal, Bobby Dandridge, David Busher, Zomo Beatty, Lou Hudson, Chet Walker, Walt Bellamy.
Oh my dude, you're just naming plumbers.
And Jack
bro.
Sikma. But the thing is, all those guys played in the 70s. So it's a very specific era of basketball that I'm like, okay, this is like kind of questionable. But it's representing the 70s. That's all it was. And so I don't think there's any guys where I'm like, that guy should be a Hall of Famer. That guy should be a Hall of Famer. I think people get mad that Kyle Lowry is in the Hall of Fame conversation, and then they're like, the Hall of Fame's easy to get into. Like, no, it's not. Kyle Lowry's never going to be in a Hall of Fame ballot in his fucking life. It's never going to happen.
He will be on a ballot. He'll be on a ballot.
For who?
Kaz, you gave me the wrong time, man. You told me 12:30 Eastern time. I'm Central time. That's 1:30. You said Eastern time in the chat. So I'm thinking I got time. I got an hour. I'm like, let me just load up and now.
12:30 Eastern time. Yeah, I started at 12:30.
Oh, okay. So I'm early then.
No, you're.
No. I'm Central time. Eastern time is an hour.
I live on Eastern time.
Yeah. I'll wait.
So you're Central time, so you're an hour behind. So it's 12:30 for you right now.
Yeah.
12:30 Eastern time
is 1:30 my time.
No, it's 11 for you. It'll be 11:30 for you.
You sure? Eastern is what you live in, like New York, right? It's that way, right?
Eastern's from Indiana to all the way to the other side.
It's an hour ahead.
You're an hour ahead. Yeah. So when you tell me
that's time in the world.
Hey, I got on time. I was here at 9:30 Pacific time.
Yeah, he's on Pacific time. That means he's 3 hours behind. I'm in Ohio. Shout out to all my Ohio people. That's Eastern time.
Nah, you Central time, bro.
No, I've been living on Eastern time for the
Ohio. I'm in Chicago, bro. You right next to me.
Okay, what time is it right
That's
now?
the time, guys.
Yeah, Chicago Central time. I've been in Chicago like a couple times.
It's 12:44.
Yeah, so you're an hour behind. It's 1:45 for me right now.
Oh, okay, that's
bro. SB.
I read it. I read it wrong. Then. I read it wrong. Then I read it wrong.
12:30 Eastern. Well, you kind of missed some legacy stuff, but we're talking about right now to wrap. We're kind of wrapping up the show right now. I'll send you the link next week too.
Yeah. Okay. So I won't get the time messed up again because I'm like, man, he said this to me, Cat. I'm like 12:30. I should have just understood.
I put EST on that note for a reason, so people didn't get confused. And I guess you just finally understand the concept of time, bro. It's all right. Yeah, Kyle Lowry's not a Hall of Famer. He'll be
He's not
on
a
a
Hall of Famer.
ballot because they put basketball players on a ballot, but
Sure,
he'll never be
I
Hall of
get it.
Famer.
Yeah,
DeMar
Uh,
DeRozan never be a Hall of Famer.
He's
I
never
know
gonna be
you
a Hall
like
of
Paul
Famer.
George. I don't think Paul George is a Hall of Famer.
Hey, all I'm
Bullshit.
gonna say is this, because I think they opened up a can of worms by letting once T-Mac and Grant Hill just made it, it's over with. 'Cause you
T-Mac's
gotta
Hall of
remember,
Famer. T-Mac's Hall of Famer. He's
but
a
you
Hall
gotta
of Famer.
remember, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. So everything they did from
What
high
did
school,
Kyle Lowry
college,
do in basketball?
I think he was in Villanova, right? I think they
Yeah, but
he's
nice run.
college basketball hasn't held weight in the Hall of Fame since like 1980. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter anymore. And I've gone through
Yeah.
every single Hall of
It won't
Fame
matter
to
for
double
Melo.
check that.
It won't
Doesn't
matter
matter.
for Melo.
Christian
Melo's
Laettner's
NBA
not going to
career
be in the
long
Hall of
in the Hall of
Famer.
Fame, but you could factor in for Melo.
Yeah. Kyle Lowry's just not good enough at any stage of the game to be in the Hall of Fame. But
You'll
that's
factor in
kind of
for-
the spiel. But
I mean,
also,
he the greatest Raptor of all time, though. So hey,
yeah, but that he wasn't. That's a word indictment on the Raptors.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
Yeah,
even
that's more.
franchise.
That's just Raptors longevity. That's just the Raptors longevity.
But my second part of this entire ridiculous speech was I was making Draymond Green videos, and I'm like, Draymond Green will be in the Hall of Fame. Like, I think
Hall
that's a
of
Hall
Famer,
of Famer. And
He's Hall
people
of
are
Famer.
like,
yeah.
Draymond Green is first ballot. Just a
Mhm.
wild misunderstanding of
No.
how good first ballot Hall of Famers are. I went, so being like the sane person that I am, I went through every single first ballot Hall of Famer that there ever has been,
Mhm.
which gives us, I believe, 52 players
Who were
That's
first
it.
ballot?
that were
Was
first
T-Mac
ballot.
first ballot?
Was T-Mac first ballot? Yes,
Probably.
he was. Yeah,
I
he
think
was.
he
But
should've, yeah.
I have T-Mac as a top 50 player ever. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just really
50
fucking
was
good.
kinda crazy.
I mean, yeah.
He's top 75 in my opinion.
Yeah, sure thing. But for the first ballot, so I went through all of their accolades, all their stuff. On average, a first ballot Hall of Famer is an 11-time All-Star and an 8-time All-NBA player. They're one of the best players on earth. And so if you start thinking like, oh, is Draymond Green, is Klay Thompson a first ballot Hall of Famer? Hell fucking no, they're not. They're not good
Tracy
enough.
McGrady's
James
also like a
Harden is
six-time
first ballot
All-Star,
Hall of
I'm
Fame.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Isn't T-Mac like 7-time, 8-time All-Star?
7-time and I think 7-time All NBA as well. So
Well, that first ballot Hall of Fame number, by the way, does get a little jacked because you just got like Kareem, you got.
But it
LeBron,
gets jacked the other way because there's some early guys, Mike and in there who like.
But you
they
gotta
come in.
understand though, they like that Warriors run go get them in there.
It'll get them in there, but first ballot,
it's gonna get them first
fucking
ballot.
no.
Yeah.
In
Hell
the
no.
Some Casual Takes Hall of Fame, I did tell you 2 people get let into my Hall. 3 people get let to my Hall of Fame. First person that gets let to my Hall of Fame is the non-champion, but who was just super elite for a good stretch of his career. The Melos, and I'm talking just NBA, by the way. The Melos and the T-Macs. I think T-Mac was elite for a time, scoring champ, one of the best players in the world, taking a run to the playoffs. T-Mac sneaks in. Boom. Second player who gets in. An all NBA level guy, wasn't really a top 5 to 10 player in the world. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but has such hard contributions to some of the best teams ever that he has to be up on here. These are like the Draymonds, all NBA. This is like
it takes a long time, though. It really does.
It's like a James Worthy. I don't know if James Worthy's really a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because of his contribution to the championship team, and he was still at least an all NBA level.
Yep.
Klay Thompson can fit this. Now you could say Klay Thompson's not a Hall of Famer, but Klay Thompson could fit that all NBA guy, contribution to the championship team. Now the third guy is a dude who has a mix of both. Contributions to the championship team and was really good. Obviously, LeBron, Kareem, those guys are in there.
After going through
best player in the world.
After going through every single Hall of Famer that's ever made the Hall, I'd say the best way to get into the Hall of Fame is be really good at basketball. Is to be at least like a 5-time All-NBA.
I think that's how it starts to get in.
Anything else, because you can get in with winning titles. It takes forever for like the contributions to winning guys to get in. Like the Russell's teammates winning 5, 6, 7, 8 rings. It took Tommy Heinsohn 20 years to get into the Hall of Fame. It takes a long time.
He's a plumber. I don't think he's that good.
And so, but even with that, like, so those guys won so many championships. The whole like, oh, Bill Russell had Hall of Fame teammates. That argument only can be made like since 2000 because then all of them finally got in. But it just takes a long time. You got to be good at basketball.
Did one of them really get helped getting in because he was a coach?
Casey Jones,
yeah.
And then also, it also depends on who coming out that year with you too, because that might help you if it's a week lower class, so you could probably get in easily.
Facts. It doesn't matter who's on the ballot.
Too, yeah.
But I want us to remember from my ridiculous speech that 10-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, first ballot, and there's about 100 NBA players that are just that made the Hall of Fame that had nothing to do with EuroLeague or college, that were just good enough as is. That's a much smaller number than I think people envision. Because like Joe Johnson's like a top 170,
Hall of Very good.
200-ish player.
Yeah,
Kyle
Hall of
Lowry
Very
top
good.
like 250. It's just they're way out there.
They're in the Hall of Very good.
They're
in the Hall of Very
which is
good.
which is a big group.
Where Paul George lies. Sorry.
No,
That's
that
where
was
he lies.
I don't know. I think these
bro.
Clipper years is hurting Paul George. I think Paul George's gonna have to get a ring.
Literally, Paul George has a championship. We'll have a whole different discussion. But
he's good enough. He's good enough as is. Hate to say he's good enough as is.
Honestly, I think Paul George is one of the most talented players in the league.
He has the accolades too. He's just good enough.
Where's Kyrie though? Possible. Where's Kyrie?
In terms of the all-time ranking?
No, as far as ballot.
He'll make the Hall of Fame. He's good enough.
I don't know, man. He be getting a little trouble last couple of times.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
Could they politic Kyrie in the Hall of Fame?
They politic Dwight Howard at the top 75, so it's possible.
Oh yeah, dude, that Dwight Howard's disgusting. I don't validate the top 75.
I don't know what the demographic of the Hall of Fame ballot, but if there's like a few Jewish dudes on there, they're
they politic in the NFL.
Not super
the NFL Hall of Fame politics. Like if you're a wide receiver and you're outlandish, you'll never get in. Yeah. I'm talking about like a TO type guy. Kyrie, I think should make it.
He'll make it. He's good enough.
I don't know. He's not first ballot to me. No, and if he did lie on the Hall of Very Good, I'm not gonna cry about it.
I have him 92nd all time. That's pretty high.
92nd. Ooh, you ranked yours always that high? Ooh, I know that was tough. I know that was.
I don't think I could ever get to. I don't think I could ever get to 50, dude.
It's a lot of fun. I have a great time with it.
Because I don't think I can articulate. Because I don't want to talk about Patrick Ewing. I don't want to talk about all those guys.
Sorry. Patrick Ewing's like top 30.
No, he's Hall of Fame.
Top 35.
Yeah,
he's Hall of Fame. He's a top 50 guy for sure. But I don't like to get that
New Yorker. Yeah,
I gotta get going. I really
see that NBA Finals. Patrick Ewing.
Appreciate having me.
I will be on time the next time, man. I got you, man. Too.
SB, is there a take? Wait, all right. If possible, you can go. I want to ask SB this. Thanks for coming on. Possible. I'll send you another link in the future because I love talking. SB, I will send you the link next show. But before we wrap up, are there any takes of mine? I always ask people come on the show from TikTok. Are there any takes of mine that you disagree with, or do you want me to say?
I gotta check up again. I think you did have one, but you ain't really been bad lately. I don't know. I got
lately. Whoa,
lately, you ain't bad lately.
Lately, I am getting smarter. I did say in today's show, I am getting smarter. I updated my criteria, my top 15. It's way more consistent. I went back, watched some film. I'm watching 70s basketball when dudes who low-key were plumbers. I'm just playing.
It's sometimes it do be a tough watch, but sometimes you gotta watch it though, because like the myth of the Magic Johnson playing center. Once you watch the game, you realize how bad of a myth that was. But it's like if you don't do your research,
he was the 5-man, but he wasn't like center. Like
he just tipped the ball off and played regular like he was doing before then. That's it. That's all he really did.
Yeah, he literally just still played point guard.
But we would never knew that because the older generation would never expect us to go sit and watch the game. And it was just like, once you sit and watch the game, I was just like, bro did not play center. Like, hold on, y'all.
Or the overrated 90s defense.
That too. Yeah, I'm not a big like, I respect the 90s because of catapult basketball, but I don't think 90s, like how people say the 90s is the greatest era. I disagree with that. I think
a lot of people just like the 90s.
Yeah, I think everything in the 90s.
Like just 90s just culture in general. A lot of people just like the 90s.
Yeah. Now you could say that the 90s culture might have been one of the best cultures because they just really got to and watch and enjoy everything. So they enjoyed everything.
Yeah, because in the 90s exploded the NBA.
Yeah.
The 80s started it, but the 90s took it to a whole other level.
It took everything. Cowboy. That's why all these Cowboys fans because of football. Rap, that's Tupac and Biggie time. Mm-hmm. It's too much stuff going on. The baseball, the Yankees, so that's why.
Yeah, okay. Where's Jokic all time? Because that was the topic of the show. Jokic is going to be greater than your favorite player. Where's Jokic to you?
Probably around the 30, 25, 30 range.
30? There's 30 players better than Jokic.
Yeah, right now he still got to put in more work, bro.
I don't think I can give you 30. Can you give me 30 guys, bro?
30?
Because once you get to 30, you're going to start capping for CP3.
No. I said 25. So I think he in that 25 to 30 range, or
25 isn't horrible. I think he's top 25 already.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. But the basic Mike, LeBron, Kareem, Kobe, Shaq, Duncan, Magic, Bird, Hakeem,
Bill Russell, he
Bill,
values
Russell, Wilt,
Steph. If you want to take
KD,
Steph.
Steph, Giannis,
Okay,
LJ.
so that's my thing. If you have Giannis there, then he should be like butt with Giannis, like right there with Giannis.
Only reason I disagree with the Giannis because he got a lot of more defensive accolades to add on to that, and he's in the category with Mike and Hakeem as only players to win the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. So that's like a heavy that's heavy to do that the same year. But I think it's Giannis' defensive accolades and him playing
the playoff
defensively.
transition that year looked pretty bad.
Yeah, it did. Jimmy Butler cooked that man, even though talking about defense. But yeah, but that's the only reason why. And I just think like only problem.
I'm not whether Giannis is better. I'm just saying I don't think their career is necessarily far off for Giannis to be this top 15, 25 lock, and Jokic is not.
Yeah. I think Giannis from like 20. I think Giannis from 20. Only I put Giannis in the top 20 because his defensive accolades too. He got his resumes up par, and he has.
So he has the longevity over Jokic
too. Yeah, sure. That too. And he did it longer. But I think Jokic, when Jokic all said it up, if he decides to like not quit and start ratting horses, I think he could be a top 10 caliber player for sure. He's a top 10 center for sure. I'm not gonna argue that.
He's been a top set. He's a top 10 center without even a championship.
Yeah. Might be the most skilled center ever. I can argue. A lot of people keep saying Hakeem, but
I'll go Hakeem because Hakeem wasn't a terrible passer at points.
He ain't passing like Jokic though.
He can't pass like Jokic. Scoring though is still there. He can't score on the levels as a Jokic, but are we talking about levels of scoring?
Versatility and
then the defense.
Yeah,
I think Hakeem's probably more skilled, but you can make Jokic is definitely 2.
Yeah, and then Jokic, honestly, what put Jokic up a little bit more higher too, because like during his playoff run, he wasn't terrible on defense. He was like average or a little bit above average. So that's good for him.
That's the thing with Jokic because he's just not athletic enough. He's smart. He can make the right reads. Like if he's in the correct passing lane, he can get that steal. He can swat the ball away. He can block a shot. He's just not athletic enough to just laterally move with guys. But if your coach really doesn't know how to expose him defensively, he's going to be an average at best defensive player. Golden State last year exposed the hell out of him because they knew how to beat him. Yep. The way to beat Jokic defensively is to just space the shit out of the floor and then have Jokic literally just play on his heels the whole game and just pick and roll Jokic to death, ISO Jokic. He can't guard that.
Yeah, or you get a team like
they do a good job picking and rolling Jokic. I didn't think they did enough.
And they didn't really have the personnel to like attack the rim consistently. That's why like the only 2 teams that was really threatening for the Denver Nuggets was, even though the Warriors looked like a shell of themselves and they had a bad year, was either the Warriors or the Milwaukee Bucks. And once the Milwaukee Bucks got put out, I was just like somebody in the Western Conference win a championship because Celtics not consistent and Miami don't have enough. Like who else?
Brook Lopez could shoot the long ball. I would have liked maybe a Milwaukee-Denver series, but we never got it. But I'll send you the link, bro, for next show. Next show is probably going to be on Monday.
Okay, cool. I'll be here.
Same time. Learn your time zones, bro.
You got to learn your time zone, how you worded it. That's how you worded it.
I literally said 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, EST. That meant 12:30 my time, which meant 11. Well, I didn't know what time zone you were, so I just put my time zone. I assume you know the time zone. So 12:30 my time is 11:30 your time.
Yeah, I looked at it the wrong way because I was thinking you were an hour ahead of me, but it's cool.
Yeah. You better not write me on that book, though, bro. I'm scared. I'm scared of that book. I
don't think you in it.
I'm scared of that book, bro. If I have you on my show, bro, I'm gonna be walking on my heel. I'm gonna be toes, bro.
I'll be waiting on it. I'll be waiting on the clip there. But I
got an eye appointment in 20 minutes. I got to go to. But salute to you, SB.
Salute, brother.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in the podcast. See you Monday at 12:30. I'll update anybody if I change my time. But appreciate you, bro.